My name is Stacy Pearsall, and I am a U.S. Air Force veteran. I live in Charleston, South Carolina presently. I enlisted in the Air Force when I was 17 and served for 10 years. My job in the Air Force was as a basic still photographer, and initially I was assigned to the U-2 program, the U-2 spy plane program, and I did that for 4 years. I had found out about this wonderful job called combat camera. So in my downtime, I would take pictures and try and build a portfolio just to apply, which I did. In July of 2001, I found out that I was accepted and reported to Charleston, South Carolina. So the rest of my career, I spent traveling and documenting the Department of Defense story. So not just the Air Force story, but Army, Marine Corps. And that brought me to a whole bunch of operations, including Iraq. I served in Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, but not Afghanistan. I was in the Horn of Africa, and then I went back to Operation Iraqi Freedom. My job varied from day to day. On one hand, I could be going out with the infantry, going door to door looking for bad guys, for lack of better terms. And the next we'd be on a big operation, a joint operation with the Iraqi army, clearing out whole villages. And on my last deployment, it was during the surge. And we now call this particular group of fighters ISIS, but it was ISIS in Iraq, and they had taken pretty much over the city of Baquba and areas of Baquba. Baquba, the battle for Baquba, was the last major war effort in the Operation Iraqi Freedom conflict. So I didn't know it at the time that I was going to be part of such a historic operation, but looking back, the men and women who fought that particular part of the war were wonderful heroes. I had been documenting the civil affairs unit that was rebuilding a school outside of the Baghdad International Airport. That school happened to be where Saddam's wife taught school, and that city was made up of predominantly Ba'ath Party and Saddam loyalists. And so during the shock and awe campaign, they were a heavy target, and the school was all but razed to the ground. In an effort to win hearts and minds, the Army, this particular civil affairs unit, set about rebuilding the school, did a fantastic job. We kind of found out after the fact that there had been a bomb laying in wait for us for many months, and it was just kind of ironic that there was a film crew there documenting the whole thing because of the significance of the school and the location. And because I had a pulse and all my limbs and my eyesight, that military mentality, just keep pressing forward. And I was out on operation the very next day. But traumatic brain injury is kind of insidious, and it takes a while to really rear its ugly head. In the meantime, I was still dealing with the neck pain and my ear pain, and it wouldn't be until months and months and months later that I was actually diagnosed with traumatic brain injury. I had been thinking about getting a service dog. To look at me is to see somebody who looks high functioning and that I don't necessarily wear my injuries on the outside, and that's part of the problem for me too, is that I don't volunteer that either. So, coincidentally, I was taking portraits at a VFW convention, and I met a gentleman by the name of Joe Worley and his service dog Benjamin. And just seeing how wonderful they were working together and that dynamic. Joe had explained to me in such a nice way that all the benefits of having a service dog, and my eyes kind of opened wide, and I was like, okay, well, let me give it some thought. So I did, and it wasn't just a few weeks after that I had a grand mal seizure. And There's nothing more frightening than losing these periods of time and feeling completely and utterly out of control. And for me, I think that's what solidified the need for a service dog. I've always been a very independent person, and I don't like the idea of having to depend on others around me. I like the idea of being able to continue my life and have independence, and to be able to get up and not have to worry about, am I gonna fall down and have a seizure in the grocery store, or my husband not wanting to leave me alone because he's worried I'm gonna fall down and have a seizure in the middle of the kitchen boiling water or something. I don't know. I think there's something to be said about the reassurance of having a teammate like a service dog, and I feel like it would be a perfect opportunity to allow myself the vulnerability and accepting that part of my life, because it's not going to go away spontaneously. And having a service dog will maybe, I'm hoping, provide the confidence I need to not feel the fear that I feel right now. I do a really good job hiding it. Well, at least I think I do. I mean, I would say most people don't even know that I deal with the issues that I do on a daily basis, because I try really hard not to let them know. It still isn't real. Honestly, it was everything I could not to just start bawling my eyes out, because having watched Charlie grow just like the rest of America has, I feel so connected to him already, and I'm basically living with him through the Today Show and on through the VetDogs YouTube channel that I know him already. So I am completely ecstatic, beyond humbled, and I feel on so many levels that I'm unworthy of such a dog, but I think together we're going to be a really great team. And not only is he going to impact my life in a positive way, but all those who I interact with daily, all the other veterans that I work with, are going to benefit from him too. And I think that's, I guess, what's going to make us such a dynamic duo.